The Miami Dolphins are either releasing or trading Kyle Van Noy. So on today's episode of Dolphins Today, we're going to be breaking down the top players that could try to replace this dynamic dude here. Now, we're going to be looking in free agency. We're going to be looking in the NFL draft, but I got 10 players that y'all need to keep in mind. The biggest difficulty here is how can you find a player that's 6'4", 250 pounds, can play edge, can also drop back into coverage, and really do a lot of things that really help the Dolphins defense stay very dynamic. So in 2020, he played in 811 snaps. On 38% of those, they were going up against the run. In 30% of those, pass rush snaps. And then he dropped back into coverage, which is probably the most difficult thing to really try to find an edge rusher linebacker that can also coverage at a high level like he can, and in 32% of the snaps. So if you find yourself always looking for Miami Dolphins videos, I promise you this. This is going to be the #1 channel to keep you guys updated on Miami Dolphins news and rumors. If you're looking for dolphins swimming in the ocean, you're in the wrong place. I'm just going to be honest with you. But seriously, free Miami Dolphins videos literally getting close to almost every single day now. So if you could, hit that big red button that says subscribe. Kyle Van Noy replacements in 2021 NFL free agency. We're going to be breaking it down here on Dolphins Today. And when we're really looking at this here, we're going to go from 5, and we're going to work our way down to 1. At number 5 on my list, it is actually Tyus Bowser, linebacker of the Ravens. Out of all the players that I'm going to mention here, going to be the cheapest route. So obviously one of the reasons why the Dolphins decided to move on from Van Noy was to save a little bit of money. And maybe since they got rid of him, they're not looking for a replacement. But when you talk about some of the other free agents out there, Matthew Judon, he's going to be the higher price, higher priority for the Baltimore Ravens. That's why I think you get him a little bit cheaper. He's like an average linebacker, can do kind of everything okay, if you will. But in terms of trying to find somebody that can get after the quarterback, that can also stop the run and drop it back into coverage, that's why I thought kind of a 3-4 style linebacker was pretty interesting. Played in only 540 snaps last year, but if they are looking to go a cheaper route, I do think a player like Tyus Bowser, who had 5 pass breakups last year, is just somebody to keep in mind. At number 4 on my list, I'm going to go Leonard Floyd here. He had career highs in pressures and in sacks in 2020. Sacks, 10.5. Pressures, also double digits. However, I don't want you to be fooled by those numbers, because if he goes out and tries to make money of a 10-plus sack guy, you're going to be very, very disappointed. But when I go back and I watch a lot of his film in 2020 and also his time with the Chicago Bears, he was actually pretty solid, at least dropping back into coverage. And I don't want to find a guy that can just do it in 1 year. Over the last 3 seasons, Leonard Floyd has dropped back into coverage snaps over 100 times. You're saying, wow, Mitch, it's only 11% compared to Van Noy's 32%. You're right. Van Noy is a special player. He truly is. But if you can also find a bigger edge rusher who can kind of fill a bigger need here for the Miami Dolphins, that's why I thought Leonard Floyd was somebody to keep in mind. Number 3 on my list is KJ Wright, who I just absolutely love. He is more of your traditional linebacker. He's not really going to put his hand in the dirt like Van Noy would do here and there. But if you're looking to just find one of the best overall defenders in the league at age 31, and if you really truly believe that this Dolphins team can win now, why not go out and get KJ Wright? Because the Seattle Seahawks have only about $3.54 million in terms of cap space, and in terms of reliability, you know what you're going to get out of KJ Wright. I can almost guarantee you this dude's going to have over 80 tackles, and he's probably going to play in 15-plus games. I mean, he's played in 15-plus games 6 of the last 7 seasons. Now, in terms of overall snaps, the coverage numbers are higher for the simple fact of, well, he is a linebacker, and he is going to play a little bit more back into coverage. But if you're just looking for an absolute dynamic dude, and it's probably at one of the biggest needs right now for the Dolphins on defense, no disrespect, Jerome Baker, KJ Wright is a player that I think you should definitely keep in mind. So what I want you guys to do here is go down in the comments and let me know. Name a free agent the Dolphins should sign to replace Van Noy, as I stumble to get that out. And I know there's a lot of other options, and we always try to mix it up here a little bit, but I thought these were the top 5 most realistic options the Dolphins could try to sign to replace Van Noy. Number 2 on my list, Matt Milano. There is no debating that he is an absolutely great defender. However, he has definitely been labeled as injury prone. He has never played a full 16-game season in his young career. And really, when he first started coming out, it was round 5, I believe, in the NFL draft. He has worked his absolute tail off. And this is a player that I know a lot of Miami Dolphin fans know very well from playing in Buffalo. And I also know it's going to be somebody that Brian Flores falls in love with. If you're trying to find somebody that is a great coverage linebacker, Matt Milano was 100% that. Played in only 335 snaps last year, but again, I'm trying to find somebody that can do just about everything pretty well and can also have confidence in him dropping back into coverage, which is something that this Dolphins defense definitely needs, especially at a linebacker or, I guess, at the edge rusher. So at number 1 on my list here, it's Shaq Barrett. Is he really comparable to Kyle Van Noy? Not really. However, he is by far the best free agent if you're looking for a edge defender, if you're looking for an outside linebacker that can play in a 3-4 role. That's why he's number 1 on my list. I'm just being honest with y'all. 8 sacks last year, 13 tackles for a loss, and if you really want to be able to get after the quarterback, he can do it because you can't really do too much if you're an opposing offense, right? Because you got Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. This really allows you to pin your ears back and get after them. The issue is dollar bills, y'all. I mean, we're talking probably $18 million a year. He won the Super Bowl. I guess not just him, but he was a big reason why he ultimately ended up getting that. So not maybe the best type of replacement, but he's the best defender on the list. So let's look one more time here at this top 5. You got Tyus Bowser from the Baltimore Ravens, the cheapest option. Leonard Floyd might be the, I guess, most comparable, if you will, in terms of what Kyle Van Noy could potentially bring. KJ Wright's the best overall linebacker. Matt Milano is the best coverage linebacker, and also I think he might actually be cheaper than Wright. And then Shaq Barrett, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but he's a phenomenal player. These are the top 5 players I think the Miami Dolphins should go out and target in free agency if they're trying to replace Kyle Van Noy. Today's show presented by my good friends and hopefully y'all's good friends too, BetUS. If you want to go ahead and bet on the NBA playoffs, March Madness, it's here, y'all. I'm excited for some college basketball. I didn't get it last year, and I get it this year. You can bet on college basketball. You can bet on the NBA, but you got to go to chatsports.com/bet. You got to use this promo code right here, Dolphins125. Why? Gets you 125% deposit bonus. It's the best deal on the internet, and then if you can actually find a better deal, hey, my hat's off to you because I have yet to been able to find one in over 2 years working here at Chat Sports. Now, if you're like, you know what, Mitch, I don't know the NBA, I don't know college basketball, but I know my Miami Dolphins. Woo! Man, you can go ahead and bet on them to win in the AFC. If you want to bet on to win the division, you can do that as well. So right now, plus 1,200 odds, that's tied for 5th best in the AFC. So, I mean, honestly, if you risk $10, you can win $120 if they end up winning the AFC. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So one more time here, Dolphins125 is the promo code. You got to go to chatsports.com/bet, and that's going to get you a nice little sweet 125% deposit bonus. And once you go there, tell them that we sent you. The easiest way to do that is by, once again, using that promo code, Dolphins125. You're watching Dolphins Today, and we're going to be looking now at the top 5 players that the Miami Dolphins could potentially go out and draft to try to replace Kyle Van Noy, who is a phenomenal, versatile defender. At number 5 on our list, we're going to go linebacker out of LSU, Jabril Cox. I project him to be a round 3, day 2 type of pick, and if you don't want to invest in round 1 or in round 2 and trying to replace Van Noy, I actually think Jabril Cox is a pretty interesting player. He definitely needs to improve against the run, but if you're looking for one of the best coverage linebackers in the 2021 NFL draft that you can get at a pretty reasonable price, Cox is definitely up there. 58 tackles last year. He had a sack. 6'4", 230 pounds in terms of comparison to Van Noy. He's about 30 pounds lighter, but has still room to grow, just like most of these younger players do. But if you're looking for somebody a little bit later on day 2, Jabril Cox is somebody to keep in mind. Let's go now to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's just a do-it-all outside linebacker who can blitz, he can also cover. He's a little bit more lean and thin than what Van Noy brings, so you're not really going to have that edge presence, if you will, if you're trying to go from a more 4-3 style. An incredible athlete, won the best linebacker award last year, but 62 tackles, 10 tackles for a loss. I mean, an interception, 3 pass breakups. However, if you're going to go after this guy, I am a strong believer that you're probably going to have to get him at pick number 18. I don't see him falling into round 2. I know a lot of teams are really excited about him. I also know Miami's got him on their big board as well. Let's go to number 3 here. Micah Parsons opted out of the 2020 season, but look at those 2019 numbers. They're impressive. Over 100 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 14 tackles for loss, and 5 pass breakups. Coming into this year, a lot of people actually had Parsons as the number 1 defender on their boards. I know a lot of NFL draft analysts did. And then some of the off-the-field stuff happened. And then some reports came out that, about 15 NFL teams, they don't have him on the list. There's some people out there that might try to use Micah Parsons as your conventional Mike linebacker. I'll say, honestly, I think they're wrong to do that. If you could use him as more of an edge rusher, and really if he can improve as a coverage player, definitely somebody to keep in mind. But if Miami wants him, again, this is probably a player you're going to have to get at pick number 18. So what I want you guys to do now is name a player that the Dolphins should draft to try to replace Kyle Van Noy. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy thing to do, but asking a young player to fill such big shoes, it might require one of these higher draft picks here. So let me know. Name a player the Dolphins should draft to help replace Kyle Van Noy. Number 2 on my list is Joseph Ossai, edge rusher from Texas. The reason why I have him over Micah Parsons and why I have him over Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is more based on fit and actual value. If I'm going to go after Joseph here, I'm going to try to get him at pick number 36. I'm going to try to get him in round 2. He's definitely athletic enough to put his hand in the dirt, and he's also good enough to drop back into coverage, something that he was able to do at Texas. He can get after the quarterback, 5.5 sacks. He can also stop the run, 55 tackles. Joseph Ossai is not as talented as the 2 guys you just saw, but in terms of your more realistic fit and replacing him, we're talking about Van Noy. I do think Ossai is number 2 on my list. At number 1, and this is actually not really all that close to me, if you are honestly trying to replace Van Noy the best way possible, whether that's free agency, whether that's the draft, look no further than Zaven Collins, 6'4", 250 pounds. He is a extremely versatile linebacker. He can pass or rush the passer. He can cover. He can tackle. I mean, I really think this is your easily, hands down, Kyle Van Noy replacement. If you're doing a Miami Dolphins mock draft, I'm telling you right now, project Zaven Collins to go number 18 to this team. I'm curious to see what they do at number 3, but out of all the players that I talked about here, Zaven Collins makes the most sense to replace him. So my top 5 replacements here for Van Noy in the 2021 NFL Draft. I got Jabril Cox, linebacker out of LSU. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I do absolutely love, number 4 on my list. Micah Parsons, 3. And then the top 2 guys I think are the most realistic at pick number 36, maybe for Ossai, and Zaven Collins. I'd go up and get him at number 18. So, okay, one more time here. Let me know. How should Miami replace Van Noy? We talked about free agency. We talked about the draft. If you're sitting here saying, you know what, Mitch, I liked a lot of the guys that you talked about in free agency, type F. If there's other people that you want to let me know, hey, go down in the comments section. Let me know. And then type D for draft. If there's somebody else you want me to keep on my radar, that's what this show is all about here. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. One more time, hit that big red button that says subscribe.